Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Tuesday afternoon, with everything Steelers. Let's get rolling. We're going to wrap up our week 3 overview with the ups and downs, what players stopped, up, what players stopped, went down, for week 3 performance. Start with the downs. We start bad and good. Aaron Rodgers wasn't able to really push the ball downfield much. The mobility still lacking severely. A lot of sacks he's eating, a lot of contact he's eating right now. No, that's not Aaron Rodgers' fault, but it is a symptom of him correlation of him not mobile anymore. If he was still Dylan Rodgers, still able to move around back there, I'm sure the sack numbers would be down. He would be able to avoid the pressure more often, but because of the lack of mobility, it's just not there anymore. So he is getting hit and hit often, and the ability to push the ball downfield, probably a lot of the receivers getting open downfield, the pressure being in his face, but he just wasn't able to click all game long. It felt like only a couple drives. It felt like Rodgers was able to get on the same page with his receivers consistently. All about that. Another player going down. Pat Fryer is him and Rodgers haven't really been able to shoot all 3 weeks so far this season. So his stock continues to go down week to week until he can start together some good performances. Roman Wilson isn't seeing much time on the offense. I had high hopes for him entering the season, getting a lot of reps, only 9 snaps in this past week's game. So once again, Roman Wilson, I'd like to see more of him. Don't really blame him. Well, just it seems like the stock on Wilson isn't high right now. And Juan Thornhill hasn't really been an impact player like they were hoping for in the secondary. And with some players possibly coming back, Deshaun Elliott possibly coming back this week. We'll talk about that later. On Thornhill snaps have already started dropping. Be surprised if it continues to drop long. Elliott comes back. Now to the players moving up. Jalen Warren, he consistently provided the best running back snaps in the backfield. He runs the hardest. He gets the most yards. He runs straight to contact, something we're not used to over the past couple of years with Najee Harris. Najee wanted to dip east and west. Now Warren gets north and south. So Warren continues to be a threat in the run game, and also shown that he can get it done in the pass game too this year. To the defensive side of the ball now with the ups. Eric Gordon in his first game looks fantastic. Limited reps, of course. But Carmen had a great first game with us. PJ Watt finally had a phenomenal game. He had a good one in week 1, struggled in week 2, week 3, put everything together, got a couple of sacks, was impactful in both the pass and run game. Great to see. Hopefully he continues to build on it. Hopefully he continues to play like defender in the league. Patrick Queen, he's been flying around in the run game. We've been using him well in blitz packages. I'd love to see what Queen has provided to the team this year. I think in coverage, a little lacking so far, especially in the middle of the field. But hopefully that can get a little bit better in the run game, though. He's definitely been one of the biggest factors for this defense. Nick Herbig, he's also going up. Once again, filling in for Alex Highsmith has been equal or better. Alex Highsmith opposite of PJ Watt. We're going to talk about him a little bit more here later. But Herbig been a great time filling in for Highsmith and Brandon Apples. He was kind of picked on early in this game. Was able to secure a huge interception at the end of the first half. I didn't struggle too much in the second half, so I'm gonna raise him up a little bit. Let's talk about Big a little bit more. Alex Highsmith has already been ruled out for week 4. Now, is this a big deal? In my opinion, so because once again, Herbig has done a great job in the past 2 years. Every time he's filled in for Alex Highsmith, he's performed equal, higher levels than Smith. You look at the past 2 weeks, Oregon has had two massive plays before turnover, the interception against Seattle before halftime, touchdown drive to take the lead, and then the strip sack Sunday to get the offense back on the field, to score a touchdown and take the lead in the second half at the end of the game. So both impact plays led to game changing touchdown drive for the offense. It proves that these momentum shifting plays were big. I think it's going to force it to be time where the front office, the coaching staff look to the future and start considering moving off of Allen's Highsmith and possibly trading him for either Marquette's or talent in positions of need right now, wide receiver, offensive line, and safety. Once again, I just think Urban, younger player, talented player, it seems like, and more effective, or at least as effective as Smith, TJ Watt. TJ Watt's going to be a multiplier to the others, obviously. So I think you can start to consider the move off of Alex Smith if you're in the Steelers coaching staff or front office. Let's talk about some players returning this week, though. Joey Porter Jr. and Deshaun Elliott. Both possibly eyeing a return this week. Paul Highsmith is returning. These two will provide great moves to the secondary. If they do, secondary has really been struggling. It's been looking like some Swiss cheese out there. A lot of holes everywhere. Besides on Ramsey's side, Ramsey's been locked down for in the league last week, but it will be great to have quarterback to add to that secondary with Ramsey and Slay and Ackles, who performed well last week. Also, but Porter, he's been a solid cornerback his whole career. Continue to improve. Still a young player, only his third season. So he should continue to get better. And with the elite talent around him, he should once again multiply his abilities to be maybe in that grade to elite category of cornerback by the end of the year. And with the Sean Elliott, him returning to the back end of the secondary is going to be huge. He was, in my opinion, one of the best safeties in the league, at least one of the most underrated safeties in the league last year. He'll provide that consistent safety play that Thornhill hasn't been. Chuck Clark, or former running mates, in the back end of the secondary in Baltimore. I mean, solid production in Baltimore together. They were a great pairing there. So, pair them up there again, just for the Steelers this time. Because I think Clark and Deshaun Elliott will match them. They're both physical safeties, right? Up a shoulder and jar the ball loose. Any play. And on the run, they can force fumbles. They can be impacts in the run game also. They can come up and play inside the box. I think they're both solid safeties that can do a lot. And I think they should be on the field once Elliott returns. I think it will really help secure the back end of our secondary. Let's wrap up today's show, though. Get some concerns heading into week 4. Jalen Dublin against the Vikings. The first and most major concern. We mentioned Aaron Rodgers' ability to move earlier. He's it is always 31. Ryan Flores' defense is very skilled at blitzing. He always has some crazy blitz designs. So, I'm pretty terrified of Aaron Rodgers just taking a beating once again. This could be the worst beating we see on Rodgers. He could get jumped in the backfield every clip. Feels like with Aaron Rodgers' lack of mobility and O-line has struggled to stop 4-man rushes. This could be 2+ sacks, maybe 7+ sacks against us. It will be rough for Rodgers if he can't make the adjustments at the line and if the receivers can't get open really in their routes. It's going to be hard and a long day for Rodgers in Dublin. That leads me to concern number 2. The offense is still trying to figure out its identity. They haven't done anything great we haven't really done anything good consistently on the offensive side of the ball once again for another year. Being able to string together consistently good drives in 2 weeks now against the Jets, we were able to do that. Against the Seahawks in the first half, it felt like we were going to be able to do that again. Completely shut down in the second half. And then last week against the Patriots, the first two drives spectacular. Then we had to wait till the end of the game before we saw another big drive. Not going to get the job done in this league consistently against good teams. We've been able to sweep by some of these poorer teams early. Kind of worried with Wentz. The Vikings could be a good team once again. So this could be the downfall. The Steelers once again this year. The offense not having an identity. I know identity is trying to be as balanced as possible. But it hasn't worked. Once again, not doing anything good to great. Definitely not doing anything great really ever, but good sometimes, or below average to poor most of the time in the past 2 weeks. So we got to figure something out. We got to do something good consistently. You got to be able to either run the ball or pass the ball. And so far, we haven't been able to do either. And it's got to be something that holds this team back until they find our offense once again. And finally, my final concern, mentioned it a little bit yesterday. Carson Wentz could, with the offensive coordinator and head coach of Minnesota, the great schemers of an offense, just able to game plan really well. Carson Wentz could really bounce back this year. Effective in the air and on the ground last week against the Bengals. Now, it is the Bengals defense we are talking about. They've been probably one of the most historically bad defenses over the past 2 years now. So, can we really say this Vikings offense is going to be elite after moving the ball finally for the first time this season with consistency against the Bengals? Of course not. But we also can't act like we don't have a bottom 10 defense in the league right now until they prove they can play with more consistency also on that side of the ball. So, the Vikings could be able to run away with this game if Wentz and this offense starts clicking. Alexander Madison over 100 rush yards last week also. We've allowed over 100 rush yards every week. That's another worry of mine. Can we stop something this offense does well? We haven't been able to stop any offense and what they do well. So far this year, we've allowed over 100 plus rush yards in all 3 games. We've allowed over 200 plus pass yards in all 3 games. And then the last two, over 250 pass yards. So it's going to really come up down to this defense being able to shut down the Vikings offense. This week, the Vikings offense was the best it's looked all year. Can our defense show up big once again, like they did against the Patriots, and shut down Carson Wentz and this Vikings offense, which is still loaded with talent, even for losing JJ McCarthy? I think once again, Wentz actually gives them a better chance than McCarthy after watching those first 2 games he played. But that has been it from Steelers latest. I'm thinking host Cole Denis, and I'll see you tomorrow.